Assalamu alaikum, this is Alex from Apocalypse.Intelligence. I'm going to tell you what it was like being poisoned. When I was in my 20s, I used to be known for traveling a great deal. I moved from city to city, usually with the AmeriCorps or working in various high-up retail positions. I went back to college at the age of 27 because of my negative experiences in college, getting interrogated after by Northampton police. I developed critical CPTSD and agoraphobia. I then met my ex-husband, who was a martial arts teacher at the time. I didn't take his classes, but I was basically looking for somebody big to protect me. He worked at a lead battery factory. And what that entailed, apparently, was there is a movement that we're now seeing now with Alpine divorce, where these men don't like women or necessarily their partners. So in my case, in the case of other people that I know, lead paste was put into our food that they would acquire from work. Now, the thing is that I don't hold East Penn Manufacturing responsible because I'm on the same page they are, that the way to solve this is by increased automation of all, toxic hazardous materials. And they are working on that as quickly as they can. They definitely don't want people working there because automation is the way to save the most money as a corporation goes. If they want to send money my way, I'm not going to turn it down, and I'd be happy to be their poster child for why automation and, relying on AI for such things prevents disasters like this, where entire communities of women and disliked whistleblowers are targeted and then poisoned. I had a condition that was unknown for several years where I was swollen up. I weighed about 100 pounds more. I could barely move. I became agoraphobic because I had tunnel vision. And that was from long-term heavy metal toxicity. Now, the thing is even speaking up in that area about it was incredibly dangerous. So I had police cars parked in my driveway directly after I got my ex-husband out of the house, who I had to pretend to like the entire time we were going through a divorce. I'm like, no, I don't want anything from you. Let's divorce as friends. It was a real eye-opener to see after my stroke and while I was going through chelation who was there for me and who started manufacturing these absolutely crazy stories about me. Now, when you're poisoned, your mind doesn't exactly work right. And I'm telling people, honestly, I'm like, hey, I was poisoned. And then they're trying to hold me up to a cognitive standard that I just didn't have. And you can see from my videos, this has been a documentation of how I've been improving as I'm still intermittently within the chelation process. And this is literally 5 years later. I still have to take the pills to regulate my internal intracranial hypertension. And this could be for the rest of my life. There's no point in me going against my ex in court because he doesn't have any money. I never want to see him again. I got away. Now, what path this did set me on, however, is that it made me able to notice other people who had been through what I'd been through. And since I got someplace safe, I wanted to extend that to them as well. And I've been very surprised at those who have reached out to me. And I'm still here, and the corridor is still open. And there is a young lady out near Centralia with beautiful long red hair who knows exactly who I'm talking to, and we could really use some more herbalists and gardeners out here. But yeah, some people stayed in bad situations because they had no place else to go because they had already been severed from all their external supports and contacts. When you have somebody poisoning your reputation the entire time that you're with them and you don't understand why your connections to other people are failing and you're too sick to really fight back, it's planned long-term destruction. It's a really sick thing to do. Now, the best way to verify what I'm saying is true is I'm living a good life up here. I survive on my disability, but I'm really trying to get back pay for all the intelligence analyst work I've done all these years. And I think you'll all agree that that's rather justified. I've always had people that I've reported to. It's just now, especially wartime, this is now specialist work, and I'm doing specialist labor. That's only fair, especially considering I have injuries here. I used to be a leader of the Asatru community, and when I saw others in my community falling to the same thing, and the only person helping us was a Sufi pharmacist, and maybe some guy from London who were Muslim, that was the reason why I went back to Sufism, because that's where the help was, because that was what solved the problem, not relying on polytheistic gods or anything like that. It was me going back to what I studied in college and having those people help and get me out of there. along with the contacts I made through the intelligence community. And not anything that anyone should have to go through. So when you're looking at my videos and you're mocking them, understand that you're mocking somebody who was poisoned and who is documenting the improvement from that poisoning in a safe location 1,000 miles away, where I'm doing intelligence analyst work and trying to extract people from violent extremist cults. I'm trying to get other operators safe so that they don't have to live poisoned anymore, because it takes one to know one. So I hope this clarifies my story a little bit. I've told it 1,000 times. It never changes. Maybe I add details because I gain a little bit of courage each time. But yeah, East Penn Manufacturing, they can't help what people take home doggy bags, to snack on later. So, and the thing is that my ex-poison himself, he had the highest lead count of anybody in his floor, and he used to brag about it. That can be verified. I was with him for his doctor's appointments, or doctors would yell at him and tell him that he was going to die if he didn't get chelation. He kept refusing. I didn't know that he was doing it to me too. And then you can't really go to court and say, hey, in the car he said I liked you better when you were poisoned, or asking me a week after my stroke for me to cook again. Not cool. Yeah, I never want to see him again. And obviously improved tremendously. I stopped getting Botox right before I left Pennsylvania. This is it. Nose job was done right before I left Pennsylvania. I'm not continuing to get beauty treatments. I eat a lot of bone marrow though. Highly recommend bone marrow for all of you out there. So with that being said, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Khoda Hafez, and Al Fiederzain. May Allah allow you to avoid what I have experienced, and if you're going through what I have experienced, especially if you are Anthony, Timothy, or John, my door is open. Well, it's locked, but you guys are feds, so you guys know when I'm home and when I'm not anyway, and you know how to reach me on the phone and say, hey, knock knock, I escaped. Okay, love you, bye.